Hey, it's Clay, and welcome to the follow through, where we talk business, your business. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, we're live on Facebook, and you can also catch every episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. All right, let's get right into it. Enjoy the show. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Friday. Looking forward to diving into how to actually use all of this data we talked about. This is the fun part where you can actually use it. Start tracking it all, and then you got to use it. Everyone have their coffee this morning? You know, it's funny. I don't know about you, but our cabinet is full of just all random mugs. None of them are the same. We get them from when we go away. We get people give them to us. We go to parties and stuff, and you grab a random mug. And you're like, where the heck did this come from? And this morning, I grabbed this beauty. Breeze Broadway Bash. It was last year. I kind of remember going to it, but kind of funny because you just pull random ugly mugs out of your cabinet, throw your coffee in it, and you look at it, you're like, where in the world did this come from? I do not remember where this came from. But get some funny ones every once in a while. Not sure what it means. But anyway, coffee still tastes great out of it. Good morning, Yen. How are you today? What do you guys have going on? Anything exciting down there? I think you're in Georgia, right? So as you're hopping on, just give me a quick hi there in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know how you're doing today. If you're just joining us for the first time, let me know where you're from. That'd be awesome. Today I gotta go get the hairs cut. Getting all along. One thing I cannot stand doing. But you gotta go do it. All right, so today, over the past couple of days, we've talked about lead data, lead tracking, why it's important, why you should do it, how you should do it, things you should track. And today I just want to touch on, ooh, it's actually cold down there, huh? A little chilly in Georgia? It's not getting any warmer up here on the East Coast either. So we talked about all this lead tracking stuff and why you should do it and what you should actually track. And today I just want to go over a couple of examples as to how we can use this data, right? So we're taking all of this time, or we're using a platform to gather all of this information, and at some point we need to use it. We need to gather this data, and then we actually need to use it to help us answer some questions, because it's not all about just tracking all of this stuff, looking at all of these numbers. It's really about asking questions like, where should I spend my money? Where is my sales process breaking? Where do I have gaps in that sales process? And one other question, I'm just going to touch on some of them that we can answer, is, do you actually need more leads, or does something else just need to be fixed? Right? So let's start and go through a couple of these examples and how we can actually bring this data together and answer some questions to help us build our business and make better decisions in our business from a marketing standpoint, from a sales process standpoint, and even from a standpoint of answering that question again, do I really need more leads, or do I just need to change something else? So the first example we're going to touch on is making marketing decisions. Like, how can this data help you make informed marketing decisions in your company? So let's just ask the question of, where should I put my marketing dollars? Like how are you going to figure out where to put your marketing dollars? You're spending this money on marketing, and now you get to a point where you're like, okay, I need to, or I want to increase revenue, and I need to market some more, but where am I going to put my money? So we are tracking the number of leads that are coming in. We're tracking that lead source. We're tracking a close rate per source. So those three numbers can give us a bunch of information as to where we should maybe put our marketing dollars. So let's say, for example, source A is bringing in, and this is just like examples. Source A, let's say you're looking at your data and source A is bringing in 40% of your leads, but it's only closing at a 15% rate. You're only closing 15% of them. But source B is bringing in 25% of your leads, but you're closing at 55%. So in this case, and you can actually break it down even further as to average sale in that lead source, or total sales in that lead source. So you could even break it down further, but for simplicity, let's just keep it at those two numbers. Based on that data alone, you're probably going to want to slow down take some of source A funding and maybe put more of it into source B funding, or maybe, depending on what it is, maybe you take all of source A and put it into B, but you need to make that decision. And now you actually have an informed decision that you can make based on data, instead of just asking yourself, hey, I need more leads, I want more revenue, I want to do marketing, and just guessing as to where to put that marketing. A lot of marketing is guessing too. You got to try it to see if it works, but the only way you're going to know if it works is if you actually track it. So it comes back to that again. So if you use this data to figure out where to put your marketing, you're not wasting your marketing dollars, or you're putting it into the source that's bringing you more revenue, right? So to take this to even another level, and adding in what we talked about on Wednesday of what they're actually called about, like what are people reaching out to you about? So if you have, and you're asking, or you know that they're reaching out about just service, construction, and repairs, let's say, just use those three from a service industry standpoint, you can, if you track what they called about, you can now look back and see how many calls you're getting for construction, how many calls you're getting for repairs, how many calls you're getting for service. And then you can figure out what your close rate is on each of them, or what your dollar value, your revenue dollar is based on what they called about. If, let's say, your construction is kind of low and you want to increase that, you can look and see how many calls you're getting. Maybe your messaging isn't about construction. Maybe it's about maintenance and your heavy maintenance calls, but you want to increase your construction. So you would need to just change your marketing messaging. So not just even from a dollar and cents, but it allows you to look at your marketing and figure out what is working, what is not working, and maybe where you want to change your messaging and your marketing to bring in more of like that construction work. Or maybe you want to build your maintenance company and you want to increase your messaging for maintenance so you get more calls for maintenance. So it'll help you. So having this data from a marketing standpoint in these two situations will help you, one, allocate your marketing dollars to the correct source, and two, it'll allow you to figure out if your messaging is what you want it to be and what you want to come in. So that is how this data can be used to help you make marketing decisions. And without tracking it, you're probably putting money in places that you don't even need to. And you could take that money and allocate it somewhere else that's actually bringing in qualified leads. So the next example and the next way we can use this data is, and I did talk about this, I believe, on Monday a little bit, it's about your sales process bottlenecks and trying to figure out where your sales process is breaking down. Where are the leads coming in and they're actually just dropping off and just going into wasteland and never contacted again, or that's where you never hear from them again at a certain stage in your sales process. So in this particular case, we are tracking using lead count, we're using stage movement, and then we're using our drop-off points to figure out where that is happening. And then the example I talked about on Monday, it was that picture gathering. We thought maybe that was slowing people down, when in reality, the data, when we went in and looked at the data, and we found 89% of the leads that were coming in were sending us photos, and then 81% of them were scheduling calls. We knew that wasn't where our bottleneck was, and instead of just saying, okay, let's just take that process out, we changed it a different way and made some tweaks in a different way. Because had we just done it based on our gut and what we thought was happening, we would have completely removed that assignment selling from our sales process, which would have increased unqualified calls of customers and also would have just burned time for the salespeople on phone calls all the time, just constantly on phone calls. So another huge place in a sales process that breaks down, and you can see if it's breaking down, and maybe you just know it because you know you don't do it, is your think about it stages. When people say, I'm not sure, I need to think about it, maybe for next year. But by tracking where people are falling off, you can make adjustments to your sales process to better communicate with them, to better follow up with them, and increase your close rate by taking those bottlenecks and fixing them. So that's number 2, and examples of how this data can help you fix your sales process. So the next example is, do I need more leads? I see this question asked not even a question. Well, I guess it is a question, because you see it on Facebook all the time, or I talk to people like, I'm just not getting enough leads. I don't have enough leads. How do I get more leads? What marketing are you using to get more leads? And that really just goes back to those marketing decisions, right? Each company's different. Each area is different, where your marketing is going to work differently than another one. But when I'm asked this question, I ask two questions back usually, because people say, I need more leads coming in. Where should I put my marketing dollars? And the 2 questions I always ask is, how many leads have you gotten? And whatever time frame that is, just so we have some kind of data. And then what is your close rate on those leads? And I would say, I don't even know a percentage, but a majority of the time, we don't have that data. So there's no way to tell if you actually need more leads or not. So having this data is really going to reveal if your leads are steady and they're steadily coming in. And it's also going to reveal your close rate if your close rate is if your close rate is low. So let's say, for example, you're saying to yourself, I need more leads, but you have data and you can look back and you can see that you've had a pretty good lead flow coming in, but your close rate is super low. That's telling us a story. It's either telling us that your sales process is kind of broken, or maybe it's your marketing, and your marketing is bringing in the wrong people. So then you can go back and fix it. But if you don't have that data, you don't know what's actually happening. So do you really even need more leads, or do we just need to change your marketing message and fix your sales process? Or do we need to improve your qualification of the leads by changing your messaging, maybe on your website, your Facebook marketing, and maybe on your website, your Facebook marketing, whatever marketing you're doing, maybe you just need to change your messaging. So it's having these two points of data will allow us to backtrack and look at other things, because it might not be that you need to spend more money on marketing right this second. If you just fix your sales process and increase your close rate, your revenue's going to go up. So another thing that you can do with this, and having these 2 data points, the total leads and your close rate, is you can forecast revenue. So in a certain, you can somewhat forecast revenue. So let's say, for example, you get 100 leads, and I'm just doing easy math. So let's say you get 100 leads and your close rate is at 20%, right? So you typically are closing 20 jobs out of those 100 calls that come in. If your average sale is $5,000, you're selling $100,000 a year. Let's say now you want to increase your revenue to $150,000 a year. You can do it two ways. One, you can increase your pricing and increase your margin. Or two, you need to get on the phone more. Or actually three ways, really. One, you increase your margin. Two, you need more leads. Or three, you need to increase your close rate. So if your close rate is low, work on increasing that first, because then your revenue is going to go up. But let's say you have a pretty good close rate. Let's just say, for example, it's 20%. If you have a really pretty good close rate of the 20%, to go up to $150,000 in revenue, we need to bring in 50 more leads, because that will give us 10 more jobs based on data at 5,000 a piece, which is 50,000. So that should technically increase our revenue to 150 grand. So now we need to figure out and backtrack again. How do we get 50 more leads? Now we go back to our marketing. We can look at our marketing data and figure out where to put our money to get more leads to then increase our revenue. So how all of this data ties in together, it allows you to make super important decisions. It really all ties in together. Do you need more leads? And if you figure out, yes, I do need more leads, you can backtrack to your marketing, figure out which marketing is doing better, and where to put that extra money to get more leads. If you don't need more leads based on the data, and you just need to increase your close rate, now we can go back and look at the data, your sales process data, and figure out where we need to tighten up your sales process. So that is all, like, this is like high level. You can go even deeper into this, but this is a really good picture as to how important it is to track this data, because it really allows you to fix a lot of things in your sales process, in your marketing, and even helps you from a revenue standpoint to figure out what you need to do to increase your revenue. And maybe right now it's pricing, but it'll get to the point to where you're pricing good, but your sales process is low, and your close rate is low, so you need to increase your close rate, or maybe you need to fix your sales process, close those gaps. So that really wraps up this whole lead tracking thing, and we can dive deeper, and I think maybe we'll dive deeper into it later. But all of this lead tracking, having all of these numbers and all of this data, is really going to provide you answers to questions that you're already asking yourself, but you can't answer with confidence. You're guessing. You're going from your gut. Your gut. You're getting these answers from your gut because you're basing it off of how much your phone is ringing. But if your phone is ringing, maybe it's just random people just calling, and your marketing is not working, and you're not getting the phone calls you want to get. So you need to figure out where those leads are coming in from and how to change your messaging in there. So you don't need to make it super complex, but you need to get this data so then you can make decisions and get clarity in your marketing, in your sales process, and track it so you can see it clearly. You can make better decisions, and your business you can get answers for your business without having to guess. So I hope this helped everybody. If it did, I'd love for you to share it. I really appreciate that. If you have any additional questions based on this, please feel free to DM me. I want to help as many people as I can. So DM me, shoot me a message. I'm happy to help, happy to answer some questions, maybe clarify some of this stuff. And I hope you guys have a great day, have a great weekend, and thanks again for joining me. Bye. Before you go, if you want to learn more about what we're all about, head on over to KairouCX.com. You can reach out to us there, or just dig in and learn more about how we can help businesses and help businesses like yours at Kairou CX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Follow Through.